Hey, grain of salt here, January 27th, 2026. I just wanted to cover a couple things because I've been seeing a lot of responses to what I've been posting recently, and I want to talk about why I've changed certain things going on. So I did a post on January 23rd. I'm going to read it, and I want you to understand how I'm going forward. Uh, what I wrote on January 23rd is this: it's hard for people to update a belief. I'm not here to argue. I'm not here to persuade. If you're open minded, I'm open minded. I'm willing to change my mind if you're willing to change yours. If you're not, that's fine. You don't need my permission to believe anything, but I won't debate or engage with you. I care about what's true, not what's comforting. Structure and not narrative. Cause and effect. Accountability for actions. You choose your beliefs. I choose where I spend my time. What's important about this is that I'm trying to take emotion out of it. A lot of people want to blame somebody for something that happened in their life or for a structure they don't agree with. You know what? I might not be able to change that structure. You might not be able to change that structure. So what I've done for 2026 specifically is I'm going to write about structure. And when I discuss something, I'm going to ask, do you want to discuss narrative or do you want to talk structure? And structure is based upon the mechanics of how something works. You may not like that outcome. That's okay. But if we can't discuss the structure and mechanics, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. So the three-part series that I already wrote about in articles on X, to be very clear, the first one I wrote was hiding in plain sight. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. And it's the rocket ship with strategy. And it talks about basically the three fuel tanks. One fuel tank is MSTR is used to buy Bitcoin. The second fuel tank is the prefs. And the third fuel tank is the cash. And so what strategy is able to do now is they have three different levers they can pull on. And why do I update my beliefs? The cash balance sheet did not exist until December 1st. And so when we thought about this before then, Saylor had said basically, cash is a melting ice cube. Cash is trash. He didn't necessarily, that's the paraphrase of it. So why would he ever have cash? He got the cash to give an extra fuel tank, another lever to pull on. It also makes the rating agencies feel good that they have 30 months of paying the dividend yield. It's cash on hand. He does not have to raise money in order to do it. Really importantly, I don't think they ever touch that money. I don't. I think they just let it sit there. Do I think that they make it bigger in the future? Maybe take it to $3 billion or $4 billion? Yeah. And it just sits there. It just sits there for that comfort, right? To say that they can write a check anytime they need to. And they could write that check right now for 3 years straight without having to raise any money. So that's what I said, hiding in plain. That was the first article. The second article, 2 of 3, is the Federal Reserve evil? There's a lot of hardcore Bitcoiners that say, yes, it is evil. Absolutely, it's evil. If you label something good or evil, that is a moral judgment on your side. You're able to do that. I have agency. Agency means that I don't have to ask you for permission the way I think. And you don't need my permission for the way that you think. But the important part about this is that why does the Federal Reserve exist? And the simple example is this, and I use these numbers particularly, right? If you make $50,000 a year, but you spend $70,000 a year, you have a $20,000 shortfall. Let's say you borrow that money on a credit card. Let's say it's Visa or MasterCard. Do you vilify Visa and MasterCard because you put $20,000 on it each year, knowing that in probably 3 years, right, it will become unsustainable because you're only making $50,000 a year. And after 3 years continuing at the same rate, it's $60,000 is your debt that you probably won't ever be able to pay that off. No, we don't vilify Visa. We say that that person must live within their means, be responsible, and that's the right thing to do. Now, somebody could say, well, because Visa exists, it allows people to live beyond their means. Sure. But there are people that are able to use a credit card for a wide variety of reasons. If you travel, it makes sense. I do not travel with cash, very little cash. And I rely on using a credit card for a variety of reasons, what it allows me to do in order for getting a hotel room, renting cars, a lot of things to use that. So there is a value to using credit cards. And so those numbers that I picked specifically that I just gave in this example is the same thing with the US federal government. We bring in $5 trillion a year. We have about $7 trillion in outlays. We have a $2 trillion a year budget shortfall. Now, according to Milton Friedman, which I know that people didn't read my article because I even linked to it in there and clicked on it, and it's a 20-second clip. And I designed my articles to be right around 1,000 words so you can read it in 3 minutes or less, right? If you click on Milton Friedman, what he said 30, 40 years ago, the U.S. budget is always balanced. And when I heard that, I was like, no, it's not. It's a budget deficit. We have $5 trillion in taxes coming in, $7 trillion going out. The way that it's balanced is by the Federal Reserve. That's that buffer. The Federal Reserve is the Visa card for the politicians. And in that article, there are two parts that we talked about. Specifically, there's fiscal policy, which is made up of Congress, Democrats and Republicans. They're responsible for making the budget. They make the budget, and the president signs off on it. In that, there's no Federal Reserve. And somebody says, well, the Federal Reserve is not a government agency. Okay. But Congress signed off on a deficit, right, knowing that they can't pay it. And so the Federal Reserve does whatever is necessary in order to plug that $2 trillion shortfall. So it's not about blame. Blame is attaching an emotion to it. It's about accountability. I hold both the left and right, Democrats and Republicans, and the presidents that sign off on these yearly budgets. No, you're responsible for this. If you just want to blame Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve that they're evil for doing this, my view, that's misplaced because structurally what I said is true. Jerome Powell is responsible for monetary policy. That's it. He's at the end. He's the Visa card, right? I don't vilify Visa for the person that overspent, right? I don't vilify that person. They maybe had a good use to use it. And so tomorrow, if the federal government, very specifically, right, for fiscal policy, Congress and the president said, hey, we're either going to increase taxes or reduce spending. And so the budget is truly net neutral. We don't have a surplus. We don't have a deficit. If they said that tomorrow, we're still $38 trillion in debt, right? And with that, at 4%, you're looking at $1.5 trillion a year just in interest payments. That doesn't go away. It's structural. So my point about this is that was the second article, right? And then the third article that I wrote in this series, 3 of 3, right? What I said there is, Bitcoin is missing a central bank. Strategy is building one. It builds on this. And how does strategy, people, again, a lot of Bitcoiners chimed in. No, the whole goal was to get rid of central banking. I get it. Or get rid of all banks. Bitcoin would make everything a utopia or a nirvana if everybody used Bitcoin. My belief is pretty sincere here. Bitcoin benefits the people that use it. Those are the people that benefit from Bitcoin. The people that are adjacent to that or don't use Bitcoin, I don't think that they have the benefits from it. Do I think that at some point, 20, 30, 40 years in the future, that maybe the world will be a better place because of Bitcoin? Sure. But in the next 20 years, the people that benefit from Bitcoin are the people that own it. Just like the people that benefit from any hard asset, whether it's real estate, Mag 7 stocks that go up in value, those are the people that benefit. The owners of that technology or that equity benefit from that. So what does strategy do? It's not that I'm a fanboy of strategy because I think that everything that Michael Saylor does is great, right? I've been critical of things that he said before. But what I do know is this, is that for the past 5 years, he buys when the price of Bitcoin is high, he buys when it trades sideways, and he buys when the price is low. He's the buyer of last resort and the buyer of first resort. And he's been doing it for half a decade, right? What we would say is that if he did this as some anonymous Bitcoin whale, we would be happy for it, but we wouldn't know who he is. And so what Michael Saylor has done, he's got 4.7, 4.8 million followers on X. Do I think that that's a net benefit for the community, for somebody that never wants to sell Bitcoin? Absolutely. Do I think that what he's doing with digital credit makes sense? Absolutely. Do I think that selling shares of MSTR to acquire Bitcoin makes sense? Absolutely. Am I unhappy with the share price of MSTR? Yes. Yes. I think I think it's mispriced. But that's the reality that I live in, right? The price is set by the market, not by me, not by Michael Saylor, right? If I had to guess, I don't know. I think that he's probably unhappy with the price also. He's the largest shareholder. So where do I stand with this going forward? I can guarantee this unequivocally. Unequivocally, what I'm going to say to everybody right now, that this is true and irrefutable. No matter what you think is going to happen over the next 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, it will most likely change demonstrably from what you think it should be and from what it is. Change is guaranteed. I can also say that if you choose, this is the word I use very particularly, choose not to change along with changing information, that's the definition of closed-minded. You chose not to change. Open-minded means, oh, with the introduction of new information and the way that things change, I'm going to change the way that I think. That is the definition of being open-minded. So going forward, if you want to discuss something with me, that is great. And the last part I'll say is this. Over the past 8 years, many people have said to me, my real name is Mike. I go by Grain of Salt. Hey, Mike, can you talk to this person over here about Bitcoin because you know so much about it and you say it in such easy terms that anybody can understand it? I'm like, oh, sure, that sounds great. I walk up, I meet the person. Hey, nice to meet you. My name is Mike. That other person tells me their name. I just look at them now, and I've been saying this for the past 2-3 years. Is there anything that I could say about Bitcoin that'll change your mind? Like, no, there isn't. I'm like, cool. Let's go get something to drink. I always say, let's go get a Diet Coke, which anybody that follows me knows that means I'm no longer going to discuss a subject with you because I know that it's a waste of time. And the person that brings me over, and we walk over and we go get something to drink or eat or whatever. And the person that introduced me says, hey, Mike, aren't you going to talk about Bitcoin? I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm like, but I want you to. You know so much about it. I go, no, that person has told me that they're not open-minded. They are comfortable with what they believe. No matter what I say is going to change their mind. And I look right at the person. I go, is that true? And I'm like, oh, yeah. This person has been trying to tell me about Bitcoin for years, and I don't care about it. I think it's a scam. I think whatever they want to say about it. I'm like, okay. That's what having sovereignty about is that I'm not asking for permission. I give it to myself. That's what having agency is about, is that I think about it from my own perspective and filtering. I'm not going to waste my time with somebody that does not want to change their belief. It's really that simple. I'll spend a lot of time if somebody wants to argue mechanics with me. Like, would I prefer that, do I think that strategy should come out with a preferred that pays interest daily? I would love to talk about that for 20 minutes. I think that's a great idea to talk about that. Do we think that maybe holding off on the ATMs, either time-based or dollar-based, in order to boost the stock price would help improve sentiment? Yeah, I'll love to talk about that. But saying, oh, he's just diluting and I got in at the wrong time and I'm not responsible for doing my own homework, no, I don't have a lot of time for that. So I want to thank everybody for listening to me. It's just a quick video that I threw together. I'm going to post this up on X and on my YouTube. And always reach out. And I will talk more about what I've done about AI in the coming weeks. Fear not, I'll be in Las Vegas. And I hope that you can come and see me at Strategy World and the side event that we're doing with MSTR True North. So hopefully you'll come and meet me in person. And I look forward to hearing from everybody. And thank you.